Good morning again. I am Sandy Golke, a licensed practitioner here, and it is my pleasure today to introduce our new interim minister. And for all of you who may be new, our center is going through a transition, and approaching January, we'll be in the process of searching for and selecting a new minister that will be a permanent minister here at our center. And in the meantime, we have Reverend Suzi Schadle, that is how she pronounces it, who's come from Florida. And I'll tell you a little bit about her. She has truly a list this big of acclamations here. And here's some of what I can share with you. Reverend Suzi Schadle is a gifted speaker and facilitator. She inspires people to awaken to their passion, discover their purpose, activate the path that unfolds it, and live as the promise of its fulfillment. In November 1999, Reverend Suzi founded the Center for Spiritual Living Eastside near Seattle. In 2002, she opened the Pacific Northwest campus of Holmes Institute and has graduated over 20 ministers. Reverend Suzi has served as the chair of United Centers for Spiritual Living Core Council, as well as chairing 4 of the annual gatherings or conferences. Reverend Suzi also co-chaired the first joint conference of International and United Centers for Spiritual Living. In the summer of 2010, Reverend Suzi got a divine download of a new vision for her ministry: to transition her bricks and mortar church into an online ministry in the infinite possibilities of cyberspace as Centers for Spiritual Living Eastside. Accessible to everyone, anytime, it creates a spaciousness for opening minds, touching hearts, and transforming lives. In addition, Reverend Suzi guest speaks at various churches, continues training new ministers at the School of Spiritual Leadership in Tampa, Florida, and serves as guest musician for various Sunday services and special events. Reverend Suzi studied music at Peabody Conservatory in Baltimore, and since then she has played in multiple venues across the county. She plays a soprano and alto silver flute and is one of a handful of flautists who has mastered the bass silver flute. One of Reverend Suzi's other passions is coaching value-based ethical leadership and organizational development with church, nonprofit, and corporate leaders and teams to achieve maximum impact and effectiveness. She supports the concept of doing well by doing good. Reverend Suzi has recently relocated from Seattle to Sarasota, Florida, and she has also served as interim minister in multiple churches and is here now serving our center in transition. It is my great pleasure to introduce Reverend Suzi Schadle.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Wow, thank you. I hope I can live up to all of that. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm not really used to the flow of your service, so I apologize if I go a little bit over today. But rest assured that a good friend of mine did Habitat for Humanity in Africa, and she said in Africa they attend church for 5 hours on Sunday. So I figure we're good, even if I go a little bit over. First of all, I want to say that I've been here this week and I've had the opportunity to meet a number of people and speak with a number of people, some of you individually and some of you in groups. And I just want to say how much I appreciate the warm welcome that I've received, and I feel like I am a part of your spiritual community already. And so I really appreciate that warmth and that welcoming. Secondly, I want to say that part of spiritual community is to join together when there is sorrow in the community, the kind of sorrow that Linda Townsend is now facing. But when we join together in spiritual community in our sorrows, we diminish those sorrows by shouldering part of that burden with Linda. So be there for her when it's appropriate to be there for her. The other side of spiritual community is that we We balance the sorrows with the joys. And when we share the joys that we have, we actually magnify those joys by sharing them. And I thought about not doing this here this morning, but I've decided that it is a good idea to balance our sorrow with joy, and I want to share a joy with you. I kind of received an early Christmas present. I got a call from Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon, who is the spiritual leader of Centers for Spiritual Living. And he called to tell me that I have been recognized for the contributions that I've made to this teaching of the science of mind and to this movement called Centers for Spiritual Living. And I've been honored with a doctorate of religious science. And I am so honored for that recognition, and I wanted to share it with you. So now I'm Reverend Dr. Suzi Schadle. You may call me Reverend Dr. Suzi Schadle for about a week. I'll get over it, and then I'll just be Suzi. But it's kind of like a new toy. I slept with it last night, and So anyway, I wanted to share that with you because I'm just so honored and thrilled with that honor. So you got more than you bargained for, right? Okay. So anyway, I'm delighted. So we're coming to the close of yet another year, and as Sandy alluded to, we're also coming to the close of a major chapter in the life of this spiritual community. Lots of change happening and more change to come. And change is an inevitable part of life. And in fact, the Tao Te Ching teaches that resisting change is like holding your breath. If you do it long enough, you'll pass out. And so I thought as a way of demonstration, we'd have this half of the room hold your breath until the end of the service, and you all observe and see how that's working for them. All right? No, you don't want to do. You want no. Okay. Many of you know that the Chinese symbol for change is made up of two characters, one crisis, the other opportunity. And you get to choose which one you give your energy and attention to, crisis or opportunity. Chico New Thought Center is moving through major transition right now with Reverend Duchess leaving and we don't know who coming, and me here for the meanwhile. And true wisdom would dictate that we honor the past and that we acknowledge the loss of what was. Because it's important that we complete the past, that we bless it and then we let it go. It's critical, in fact, to have a good ending in order to have a good new beginning. And so we must release that and be done with that and bring our energy back to what's next. Otherwise, we're destined to star in the movie Back to the Future, where we repeat the past. And later, we get to open up to what it is that's wanting to birth itself through us. William Bridges, author and change expert, teaches this. There can be any number of changes, but unless there are transitions, nothing will be different when the dust settles. Transitions begin with having to let go of something. There are endings and there are losses. What comes after the letting go is the neutral zone, the wilderness between the old reality and the new. The best chance for creativity, renewal, innovation, and when revitalization begins. People make the new beginning only if they have first made an ending and spent some time in the neutral zone. So right now, this is a powerful and exciting time for Chico New Thought Center. You're standing at the doorway of unlimited creative possibility. Anything is game. And so in the aftermath of letting go of what was comes that call to spend some time in the creative wilderness between the old and the new, to spend some time in the neutral zone. And that's why I'm here, to explore with you and to guide through that creative neutral zone, to look at what the possibilities are. You know, we get to create Chico's greater yet to be with vision and intention and with wisdom, and to create out of design rather than out of default or repetition of the past. Anything is possible. We get to open to the possibilities of infinite co-creation with Spirit. And there is no better partner to have than Spirit, I guarantee you that. Now, Aristotle said that the best way to predict the future is to create it. So what will we create together in order to predict our future here at Chico Center for New Thought? Or, I did that wrong. Chico New Thought Center, rather. It's a long name. You know, for our authentic self, for our authentic community to be revealed, and for your call to be fulfilled requires that we give up some of that old familiar past, which actually holds us back from the creative future. Angeles Arian wrote, "Every transition is a process of leaving and entering, inviting new experiences and possibility into our lives. It is an opportunity to light a new path if we are willing to do the personal work necessary." Are you willing to do the personal work necessary with me so that we move to the next greater yet to be? Yes. All right then. Because we need not be victims of the effect of our past. We can rather choose to be the cause of our intended future. We can get conscious and intentional and create the future that we predict. We can move forward in faith and embrace the mystery of the unknown. The mystery of the unknown, the receptive void of the no-thingness of the universe, the power of possibility. We stand before a blank canvas that we get to paint as we choose, together. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, taught it is the very nature of the universe that there should be continual change and variation. Let us accept change, make the most of it, and capitalize on it. Life can become a glorious adventure, increasingly filled with more of every good thing as we gradually or suddenly come to change our pattern of thinking so that it embraces more of those good things. You up for good things? Yes. All right then. It's fitting that we're entering the season of birth, of enlightenment, of Christ consciousness in each of us and in all of us, and that we follow that directly with a brand new year filled with unlimited new possibilities. It's a great time for this to be happening. So while the spiritual community is going through a process of renewal and transformation, it's this renewal and transformation that enables us to rediscover and to re-energize the passion and the purpose and the path and the promise that is Chico New Thought Center for Spiritual Living, where we can fully experience and express what it means to practice spiritual living, not just on Sunday, but every day and every moment of our lives, that we become the models of spiritual living as a lifestyle of the rich in spirit. You know, lots of change coming. So lest you be freaked out by all of that, I just want to say that transformation is not about changing into someone that you're not. Transformation is changing from who you are not to become who you truly are. That's what transformation is about. It's chipping away at all that is not your authentic beingness, much as Michelangelo chipped away at that big piece of granite to create the statue of David. We are chipping away and leaving the truth of our being. That's what remains. And so in these coming weeks, we'll be engaging in a transformational construction project, if you will, beginning with laying the foundation, our core values, what's most important in this spiritual community, and then moving on to drafting the blueprints, which is catching Spirit's vision for this greater yet to be of spiritual community here in Chico. And finally, or thirdly, raising the frame and the walls of that vision through plans and strategies and goals so that we can literally experience what it is that we're visioning. And then finally, the construction part of the project, where our action steps and our activities literally make the invisible visible in our human experience. The process of awakening and transformation gives us choices. And isn't that a beautiful thing, to have choices? And the choices are these. We can be reactive and be pushed by pain and problems. I've experienced that. I don't recommend it. Although it's quite motivating, I have to say. The other option is that we can be proactive, and we can be pulled by vision and possibilities. My friend, Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, says that every problem is a question wanting to ask itself, and every question is an answer wanting to be revealed, and every answer is an action wanting to be expressed through and as us. And so we're here to ask the questions and reveal the answers and activate what is revealed. We're called to awaken and to say yes to Spirit's vision and call for us as this spiritual community. And by the way, catching Spirit's vision is huge. Who said Donald Trump? Huge. I knew somebody, there's also a car dealer in Florida that says huge. So Spirit's vision is way bigger than anything that we have imagined yet. It calls us into a place we've never been before. It's way beyond visualization. Visualization is dependent on our history. It's way beyond personal agenda. Personal agenda often is based on our fears and our worries. Spirit's vision is infinite possibility being revealed in and through and as each and all of us. And the good news is that Spirit's vision is already complete, perfect, and whole and accomplished in the mind of Spirit. There's this thin veil between us and it, and we literally begin to lift that veil and see the vision with clarity. And its clarity and its power activates the infinite possibilities before us, and it harnesses the power and the resources of the universe to support us. It empowers and guides and directs and validates our decisions and our actions. And this vision is the integration of our values and our talents and our passions and our dreams and our service to one another and to the world. It ignites purpose and meaning, commitment and fulfillment. That's the power of Spirit's vision coming through us. Joseph Campbell says that where your talents and your bliss meet the needs of the world, that is where your purpose lies, and that is where Spirit wants you to be. And so we're here to discover that individually and collectively. Catching and activating Spirit's vision requires some things of us. It requires awareness to release our old BS, that stands for belief system. You were worried there for a second, I could tell. I got awfully quiet. So we're here to release that old belief system, that old self, the old thoughts and feelings and behaviors, and to clarify and to live by our core values, who we are, and to prioritize very clear intentions, conscious intentions, what we want. And it requires a willingness to embody a vivid mental picture and a passionate inner feeling of that vision and purpose that is calling us. It requires a willingness to honestly see where we are right now and where we're wanting to go and how to get there by activating a plan to unfold it. It requires a willingness to create what I call a stop doing, a continue doing, and a start doing list. It requires a call to action, to be the co-creators and the directors of our destiny, to activate Spirit's vision in and through and as us, to focus our attention, our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions on that desired future, to set goals and to take small action steps consistently toward unfolding that vision. You know, Tony Robbins, who, by the way, got his start in religious science in Reverend Terry Cole Whitaker's church. I bet you didn't know that. Yeah. I wish he would say it more often, but hey, anyway, what he did say was this. He said, setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. You know, sometimes we think when we're in spiritual community, we're not supposed to do human things. Newsflash. If you're here in human form, which I'm kind of seeing a lot of that in front of me, if you're here in human form, you're here to have a human experience. And when we fully embrace our human experience, it begins to give way to the divine within us and all around us, and we begin to have that spiritual experience simultaneously with the human experience. So yes, some of the things that we do as human beings are absolutely as spiritual as the spiritual things we do. I used to tell my congregation, I said, you know what? As long as I'm here and you can see me in this form, I'm still working on the same things that you are. Now, when you see me poof into the ethers, you know that I got it, I have made it, and you should throw a party and celebrate it. But until then, I'm also having a human experience right along with you. So it's important that we embrace the human experience as well. Now, in my experience, I've noticed that most people are pretty excited about the idea of transformation. But I've also noticed that most people aren't real interested in having to change. And we're still looking for a way to do that, to transform without changing. I think Albert Schweitzer put it best. He said, the hardest thing I've ever had to do is to follow the guidance I've prayed for. I can see that I'm not the only one who has also experienced that. Right? It often is the hardest thing to act on Spirit's guidance and vision and wisdom. It almost seems bigger than we are, but it wouldn't be presented to us if it were. The ancient Greeks defined wisdom as skill for living. And so we embrace Spirit's wisdom, and as we embrace Spirit's wisdom and vision, we begin to acquire that skill for living. James the Just said that the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits. Spirit's wisdom invites us to that greater possibility within us and all around us. And often, that vision, that possibility, expresses itself as inspiration or creativity or imagination. Ernest Holmes wrote, as we bring ourselves to a greater vision, we induce a greater concept and thereby demonstrate more in our experience. In this way, there is a continuous growth and unfoldment taking place. True imagination is not fanciful daydreaming, it is fire from heaven. And probably one of my favorite lines from Ernest Holmes, inspiration without application is hallucination. Let us not hallucinate in this time that we have together in the next couple of months. Let us activate Spirit's vision. And I would have to say that I think that there's no better way to remember the possibility of a greater vision that is before us than to build on the messages that come through Hanukkah and Christmas. Hanukkah, the festival of lights, enlightenment, liberation that sees God as the force of transformation in the universe. And the birth of the Christ evokes the possibilities of a world that works for all. The birth of Christ consciousness in each of us allows us to embody Spirit's vision and wisdom and to unfold and to realize that greater possibility. If it's to be realized, it is to be realized in and through and as each and all of us. So I invite you. Actually, no, I don't invite you. I implore you. I implore you to be willing to commit your energies to building a world of love and kindness and generosity and social and economic justice and environmental sanity, to embrace with awe and wonder the grandeur that is the universe in which we live. I implore you, or if I were Emma Curtis Hopkins, I would say, I demand of you that we not only see the blessing in all that occurs in our human and our spiritual lives, but that we demand to be the blessing. Demand to see and be the blessing, not only of this season, but all of life. And so blessings on your journey as Chico New Thought Center for Spiritual Living. I am peace, I am joy, I am love, and we are one. And so it is. Amen.